Welcome to the Healthy Perspective Podcast with your host, chiropractor, entrepreneur, mentor, and author, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll break down and extract the secret sauce behind his own success and the success of some of the top leaders in every category and from around the world. Get ready for your weekly mental adjustment because shift is going to happen.
What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the Healthy Perspective Podcast. We have a very special guest today who's introduced by someone that you guys know, Melissa Vogel. She was on the podcast earlier. Miss Heidi Lane. She is known for ABC's Extreme Weight Loss. She has a skincare company. She has a app where people can go through their own health and fitness journey as well as life coaching. She is doing all the things, and I'm so grateful and thankful to have her on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I think one thing that people always ask, I know I do when I'm watching shows with celebrities, people that are, training people and helping people push through, difficult boundaries, difficult things. What are maybe the main milestones that took you from, who you were to kind of where you are now
Well, as far as fitness goes, I actually have always been inside of a fit family. So I do consider myself lucky because I was raised around fitness and it was really ingrained in me, not just fitness, but overall health. And, having my parents tell me that the better you take care of yourself, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the happier you are, which is essentially true. I will say though, where the life coaching came in, my desire to life coach was because some of those, if you eat better, you work out better, you feel better, tipped into an eating disorder for me that lasted a decade. It was a decade from 15, 16 to 25, 26, well into having my first two kids. And it was a really dark, hard part of my life. And I think any ability for anybody to coach others through trauma stems from them having experienced themselves. Like if I think of the therapists that have helped me the most, it's the ones who have been through the most, not necessarily the ones who have only had things happen to them, which we all have, but also the people who have chosen things that aren't best for them. And they had to learn through pain and heartache. And that was my path. I've had a handful of things that at the time I said, I wish I would have done this differently, but in hindsight, I'm glad, I'm grateful that my path worked out the way that I did, having gone through now 2 divorces. It's a lot for me. And that a lot has actually created relatability between me and the people that I work with. Because I do feel like the only way to properly help somebody is to be able to put yourself on their level and have them see you as relatable to them. And as somebody who's made more mistakes than most people I know, I am relatable in that way. And I think it helps people. They obviously trust because I've been there myself. So it's a combination. And anytime you're in that dark place or a really hard part in your life, your journey through it and climbing out is through educating and being open-minded and humbling yourself. And that's really driven me to learn and to help other people. And there's so much fulfillment in helping other people avoid roadblocks or make it through the same things that I have been. So it's really, it's my life. I love it.
Yeah. I'm always reminded, of those sort of things. Because in my book, I talk about the same thing, like having $300 left in my checking account, not knowing if I can pay rent, pay payroll, or, adjust somebody, the next week. You come out of it on the other side being so much more grateful for every minute, every patient, every dollar, that's in your account and, those sort of things. I'm reminded of that movie. Did you ever see Inside Out? And it was like the animated movie.
Yes, I did.
It's like happy is always trying to have perfect memories, and sadness comes in. And when they combine, it's like life becomes so much more full.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you 100%. And I'm somebody who doesn't remember hardly any movies, but I do remember that. And I can relate. It's true. You need the combination of all the things. You need the beautiful mess and the chaos, that organized chaos to really have a full life. And mine's full.
Right. Now, it's interesting, like, because life coaching takes so many different directions. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have like essential oil people calling themselves life coaches, or, you know, this and that and the other thing. I'm really interested to hear your perspective. Like when somebody says, hey, I want to get life coaching from you or from someone, or, you know, whatever, how much really is it like life techniques and decision-making skills and whatnot, versus how much is it just inspiring them and reassuring, like things that they already know and are capable of, but like showing, like revealing to them that they actually are powerful and can do it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I actually believe every coach is different. Mm-hmm. I know many coaches who are all about the techniques, and they spend most of their time researching and getting those techniques, whether they've ever used them or not, right? Or ever worked through trauma themselves or not. They're proven techniques that work, right? And I know they're there and I use them. However, I believe that coaching is more innate in me through connection, right? And like you actually spoke, you said showing people how powerful they are. I actually think that's a gift that I have, is to see the power that somebody else has more sometimes than I see. I actually believe that that's where my power is in seeing somebody else's power, and my deep desire and my care to help see that other person thrive and flourish and like tap into their power is what brings me life, truly. And so I can feel my way through it. Like when Chris and I, my ex-husband and I were married, the way that we worked was so drastically different, but it worked really well together in transforming lives. He was very mechanical, and like he had templates, and he, you know, and I feel my way through everything. Like sometimes I'm like, screw that technique. Like, this is what this person needs love. Like, they need to know that they're enough right now. They need to know that they're powerful, whatever it is. And so that is how I work. Granted, techniques and tools are there, but I believe, like, to me, they come to me when they need to be given. I'm not like, okay, I'm going to go into this and these are the techniques they're going to have. No, I go in feeling my way through what a person needs and connecting with them in a way that will have them seeing their power and then taking steps into their power.
That's so good. And I love that approach, because it's the focus on the human, not the problem that the human is expressing, you know? And it's the same philosophy as we use as chiropractors. It's like, we don't look at disease and trying to make disease go away. We find dysfunction, we improve the function, remove the stress, and the body heals itself. The body is capable. The body is made to be healthy and expressive and creative and abundant. And I love that philosophy. So is that the same kind of philosophy behind the app and the skincare and, you know, all the other things that you're doing is kind of this, like, the body was created to be healthy and beautiful. The stuff that we're putting on it is doing the opposite. Like, what makes your skincare company different?
What makes the skincare company different? Well, for everything I do, everything from the skincare to the supplements to the challenge that we're currently doing, I try, like you said, you go in and you try to find dysfunction, right? As a chiropractor, I try to find places that are sticking points for people. Like, what is something that is hard for somebody? And for a lot, like, for example, supplements, our supplement company is doing really well because we're not trying to give them things like, we know a sticking point is people having a sweet tooth. We know people love food. We know the food that they eat needs to taste good. We also know that, while A to Z, like, you know, jumping from where they are to where they ultimately want to be is what most people think that they want. We know that the path is A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, right? And so we all find our own place that we land. So our goal, for example, inside of supplements, my goal inside of the challenge, my goal with everything is to find what is a lifestyle change that somebody can make. What is a lifestyle swap that they can make? How can we take their favorite desserts and turn them into a healthy shake? Like, we're coming out with peach cobbler milkshake next week. And we have a s'mores milkshake. We just did eggnog. And inside of the challenge, how can we make fitness fun? And how can we have people feeling like and understanding that they have power, even if they're not going from A to Z? How can we have them feeling like they're winning at level B? How can we have them winning at level C? How can we have them winning? And it really is small lifestyle changes, like little bits over time. And those things, instead of taking on the whole Zamboni at once, but just taking on one small step at a time and having it be something that you can do for the rest of your life, right? Even with skincare, what is a system you can do that you can do for the rest of your life to feel beautiful? That's not going to feel overwhelming, because what happens when we give people too many things? We give them too many things. They overcommit. They stick to it for a week, maybe 2 weeks. I think 10 days is the usual point where people fail. That most people fail within 10 days of starting their diet. Like 90% of people do. Why? Because they've taken on too much at a time. So if we can be realistic, scale back, understand that weight loss shouldn't happen overnight. Our bodies are not Amazon Prime, right? And understand that it is those small lifestyle changes that over time add up, and they create a lifestyle. They also create a track record of promise kept after promise kept after promise kept, which is essentially integrity. Right. So my goal with all of the products that I make, with all of the companies that I start, is to help people create integrity along the way. Because when we live in integrity, we create something called dignity, which is our self-love. And when we love ourselves, we believe in ourselves. We believe that the words we speak have power. And when we believe, we are more likely to put forth the energy necessary to get to where we ultimately want to go. When we don't believe, when we're like, I can't do anything. I start diets and I can't stick to them. I drink shakes for a while and then I hate them. You know, I start washing my face with this big thing and then I stop. When we do, that's hatred. That's self-loathing. That's all the stuff that has us not believing that we have power. Right. We all have power. We just need to know how to tap into it. So that's what we do.
I love that. And is that the goal behind the 60-day challenge coming up too?
The 60-day challenge is so awesome. Like, I have to say, we ran one of them end of September through November of 2021. And it was, we did it because people had asked for it. And it turned into the most incredible thing with the most beautiful community. And it has me and Dave, the guy that I'm dating, inside of the community, because Dave's a newbie to fitness. He started in June, right? So for him, he is the newbie. This is my career, right? Helping people see that it does not take all of the things that you think it takes to be powerful and to get fit. And hey, we're going to meet you where you're at, where you're going to do what you can with what you've got. And we are going to walk you through how you, exactly as you are, is enough. Right. Because if you believe you are only enough when you get to the end, if you believe you are only enough when you do the full day of workouts, that's not the truth. You are enough no matter what you do. And that the community just breathes life and enoughness. It's amazing. We start one January 10th is the start day. I'm beyond excited for it.
Where can people go to find out more about that?
On my website, it's heidipowell.net/get fit. Right now there's a get notified page. We'll make sure you have a link or something. So we'll post it up there. For sure. It is awesome. It's the thing I'm the most proud of.
Yeah. And I talk to so many patients too, that come in with low back pain or neck pain, typical chiropractor things. And they're 50 or 60 pounds overweight. And I'm like, look, I can help you, but we have to get moving. But their initial thought of a gym is like, oh, I have to go be a sweat monster. Like, you know what I mean? And knowing exactly what I do at the gym, and it's intimidating and you're paying a lot of money. And if you feel like you're not there an hour a day, then you're not getting your money's worth. And,
yes.
So I think this challenge will be really helpful for my people to get into a community of like-minded and coaches that actually care about them and the end result, but the process along the way as well.
That's what it is. Yeah. And there are people in there that they vary, right? So there are programs in the gym, there are programs at home, everything can be scaled to do with water bottles. And there are people that do the entire thing unmodified. And most of the people find an in between, right? And that's one of the coolest things about the end. Some of the testimonials that came through were like, usually I quit a challenge within 2 weeks. like this one, even though they went an entire week without showing up, because I showed up in the community and saw the lives and felt welcome and felt enough no matter where I was, and knew that like, hey, I'm always one choice, one meal, one workout away from getting right back on track. I felt courageous enough to keep going. And so there were people that were turning in befores and afters that missed a couple of weeks of the challenge, but like, instead of being derailed like normal, they actually were powerful enough to accept their humanness and keep going. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's so good. Because one of the sad things that like when somebody gets behind in something like that, you feel like the mountain gets even bigger than when he started.
Yeah.
They start doubting themselves. I couldn't do it. Why can I do it again? So that's huge. That's an empowering attitude in the community where it's like, hey, jump back on. Something is better than nothing. And it doesn't matter, So I love that.
Yep.
Well, Heidi, thank you so much for joining me. I love this conversation. I think it's powerful for people. And I think it's, my book is called Perspective. It's called The Healthy Perspective. And I think you provided one that people are really going to take and run with. And just like you've influenced hundreds and thousands of lives on TV, I think you can do the same for this podcast. I really appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure being here.
Good. Awesome. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Perspective Podcast. To connect with Dr. Bowman, follow him on Instagram @Dr. Chris Bowman. Until next time, make shift happen.